Louis and Kathy Carrillo were not interested when they were shown the business opportunity in 1982. Louis, an air traffic controller at Miami International Airport, and Kathy, a stay-at-home mom to their 3 girls, did not like the idea of talking to people, listening to audios, attending functions, or any part of the business and education process. What they did like, however, was the possibility of freedom and built their business to the founder's executive diamond level. If one applies themselves to learning and understanding a handful of basic principles and procedures, says Louis, the freedom this business provides is the financial independence we all hope for during our lifetime. And now, Louis Carrillo.
You know, I want you to know I made my decision to become a Diamond Direct on the very first convention I did. I went to my very first convention. I sat in the bleachers, but I had a reason. I was in a crossroads in my life. I hit a fork in the road, and I had to make a decision. And so I didn't have to think about this over and over again. I didn't go back home. I didn't have a nightmare about it. I didn't have, bad dreams over it. It wasn't like, every day was a struggle for me to do the Amway business. I had made a decision at that very first convention that I would be a Diamond Direct. I never doubted for one single moment that I would not be a diamond. It never occurred to me one single time that I would ever stop at Silver Producer, Platinum Direct, or Emerald, or Ruby, or nothing. Because I thought to myself, if that guy up on that stage did Diamond Direct, then certainly all of us should be able to be Diamond Direct. What is a Diamond Direct anyway? What's the big deal about the diamond? I remember that halfway through this convention, my very first one, I said to Kathy, what did this guy do? What is it that this guy do that is such a big deal, man? I mean, this was my attitude. She says to me, well, he found 6 people that he could work with. I said, well, whoop-de-doo. He found 6 people that he could work with. I mean, how silly. Please convince me that you cannot be a Diamond Direct. I mean, it'll change your entire future. Everything, life as you understand it, is going to be dramatically changed once you make that one decision. That's why you have so many professional people that want this, because it changes your entire existence. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with freedom. It is the most unbelievable lifestyle that you will ever... For 22 years, my wife and I have lived 24/7 together. I met Kathy when she was 21 years old. We've been together since we were kids, basically. And I was in this club, and I was on the front end of 23, and I had a date, and she was like 38, and she bought beer for me, So anyway, and this girl walked up to my table to serve the table, and our eyes locked for a second, and that's all it took. And I just kind of watched where she went, because her legs went right up to her chin, man. It's just amazing. The most incredible, beautiful, blonde girl I had ever seen. And I told my dad, I said, excuse me 1 second. I'll be right back. Hold on. Give me a second. And Kathy went through these double doors, and she pushed it. She was going to go get our drinks and all that, and I just followed her in there. I had to break the ice. I didn't know how to break the ice. So I didn't know how to get things started. So I just said to her, would you consider being the mother of my children? Anyway. And she said, I'm not sure I could be the mother of anybody's children right now. I said, that's okay. You don't have to do it now. We can just kind of, we can just hang out together. You know what I mean? It could happen later, that kind of thing. But anyway, I've always been kind of bold. And I'm totally in love with my wife. And so here's the deal. Here's what happens. Listen. Right. Hey. We've been together almost 38 years, married 36, so we'll probably stay together. You know what I mean? This is probably it. But listen. My oldest daughter's 31 years old. Ask my oldest daughter, who is 31 years old, if she remembers her father going to work. That's the greatest That's the greatest test of a phenomenal lifestyle. You guys got to do this. My oldest daughter is 31 years old. Number 2 is 28. Number 3 is 23. The third one is 23 years old. The oldest one is 31. When I got in the business, she was 5 years old. By the time she woke up, she was about 9 years old. Daddy was free. All she remembers, for you guys that work 40 and 50 and 80 hours a week, all she remembers is that Daddy got up every single morning, because I get up early, she doesn't. My wife doesn't. I go to bed late and get up early. I can't sleep, man. I don't know what's wrong with me. You know, it's just, I don't know what it is. I'm good for like 4 hours and I'm done. Anyway, I get up every morning with my kids, every morning, and she remembers Daddy making her breakfast every day. I used to get in my car, take her to school, and pick her up from school at night, in the afternoon, bring her home. I made every single softball game that she played. All my girls were cheerleaders. I was at every cheerleading thing. I got 3 daughters. Cheerleaders. Every little dance recital, Daddy was there. All the little parent-teacher association meetings, Daddy was in the room. Every one of them. When I get home now and my girls see me, they come running to Daddy. You know why? Because we're so tight. It's not even funny. My relationship with my children is so glued together because they just remember Daddy with them all the time. Because I want to be a full-time father. That's exactly what happened. You want that lifestyle. But listen to me. Every dream has a price. We're just being friends now. We're just having a conversation. Every dream has a price. You know, I'm not that bright, but I ain't stupid. In other words, what happened is I went to this convention. I saw that guy, like you're looking at me right now, going back and forth, and you're thinking to yourself, look at this dude, man. Walking around back and forth, free as a bird, hasn't gone to work in 22 years. Who is this dude? I was thinking the same thing when I went to my first convention. What did this guy do? What did he do? He found 6 people. To do what? Diamond Direct. Well, whoop-de-doo, man. You know? He found 6 people that did 7,500, back in the States, 7,500 points at 25% level, and he had to work. I thought to myself, okay, so that's what the guy did. Here's the first thing that occurred to me. The reason that I didn't jump on this right away, you guys will relate to this. Very, very tippy top. The very, very tippy top of the reason why I didn't do this right away is because I didn't necessarily like the business. That might be a big reason right there. You know what I mean? Like I saw it. This is you. You got to sponsor people. You got to work with people. I didn't really like that right away. You know what I mean? That might be like a really big reason why you might not want to do this. Number 2, no people skills. Hey, that might be a reason why you might not want to do this. That's why I didn't want to do this. I don't necessarily like crowds. That'd be a bad thing if you don't like crowds, because Amway's just a bunch of crowds. We got a crowd right here, man. There's a big crowd of people right now. How about this one? Number 4, why I didn't necessarily want to do this at the beginning, because I've been a loner my whole life and I've been introverted my whole life. And what crosses your mind right now is the obvious. How can you say you're a loner, Louis? How can you say you're introverted? You speak around the planet. I've spoken in 22 countries. I know I have spoken to 1 million people. I've been to 27 countries. How can you say you're a loner and introverted? Because I'm convinced that you can train yourself to do anything in life if you want to do it bad enough. What does that mean? What does that mean? If it takes you coming out of your shell, so be it. I've had people say to me, I don't have the personality. I tell them, change it. In other words, I mean, what's your hang up? You got fears? What are your fears? Making a contact? Well, everybody in Australia knows about Amway. No, they don't, because today across the street right here in a store, I made a contact. The guy's 25 years old. I got his name, his email, I got everything. He's from Turkey. He has never in his life heard of Amway, ever. And I ain't giving you the contact. Loner and introverted. Back in the States, you go to meetings, diamond meetings. I swear, listen to me. You go to a diamond meeting, leadership meeting. You know, you walk into a room, oh, everybody's talking to each other. Where's Louie? Where's Louie? Trust me. Ask my wife. Kathy's in the middle of the crowd, loving everybody, just loving everybody. She's just talking and loving everybody. You know where Louie is? Louie's in the corner by himself drinking a cup of coffee with maybe a couple of buddies. That's it. That's where Louie feels comfortable. That's his comfort zone. But Louie in the living room is ballistic. You know why? You know why Louie in the living room is top of the line? Because for 26 years, I've been standing in living rooms. And therefore, friend, you can train yourself to do anything in life you want to do bad enough. The only reason I'm up here and fairly comfortable in front of you guys is because I got so many meetings under my belt. After a while, it's just second nature. Listen to me. If you're, I wanted to ask you something before I go any further, because remember, I made my decision on my first convention, man. I didn't have to go to 2, 3, 5, 8, 20 of them. I met guys that make a decision on the first one. I met guys that after 10 years, they can't make a decision. Now watch this. If this is your very first convention, because I'm going to talk to you about this. You never been to a convention before? Somebody talked you into this. They twisted your arm. They shoved you in the room. You know, whatever it is. Would you mind standing up? Just stand up if this is your first convention. You that are in this room right now, the least likely human being sitting in here right now could be your next diamond out of this room. You could be sitting in here, your first convention, up in a nosebleed section. You don't even know what's going on, but this thing has turned you on, and you say, I'm the next guy in this room that goes diamond. Because I want you to know that at the end of that first convention I went to, true story, you can't make this up. I swear, the guy that was a diamond, his name was Bill, he had a whole stage full of emeralds. Back then they call them Pearl Directs. Emeralds and pearls, and they were just, I mean, there's 40 emeralds and pearls up there. I didn't care what they did. I wanted to know what that diamond did. What did that diamond do? He found 6 people. These other guys found less. But the whole stage was full of people. I swear, listen to me. Can't make this up, man. 5 years later, we go diamond direct. Kathy and I. We cross stage. All them turkeys are still standing there as pearls and emeralds. Why? Because my dream was bigger. That's why. You see, you can be in this room with a reason. See, you've got the reason, man. You've got the reason. In other words, you have got the reason. You are at a crossroads in life right now. All these other guys are thinking about it. You ain't thinking about squat. You're ready to go. In other words, you're ready. See? And you're sitting in the room. You're a lawyer sitting in here. You're a doctor. I don't care what you are. Hey, listen. If you're a doctor sitting in the room, don't you think you could be trained to run a restaurant? You're a lawyer sitting in here. You don't think that you can be trained to be a cop? You're an architect sitting in here. You could drive a bus. I'm trying to make a point. You're a nurse. You're a teacher. You are, I don't give a rip what you are. You could be anything. You could be trained to be a diamond. You can be trained to be a diamond. Loner and introverted and 100% out of my comfort zone. That's where I was when I showed up at that first convention. Why we got this far? Number 1, relentless determination as I wallowed in ignorance and stupidity. Don't you love me? Think about it. Look how transparent I am. I just simply, listen to me. Number two, quitting is not part of my vocabulary. This is why I told my wife, I don't know if I want to cross that line, because if I cross the line of commitment to Diamond, it's either Diamond or die. It's one or the other. It's not like, well, maybe. I mean, what is this crap? I mean, this is, what is it? We're having a stupid conversation here? I mean, we're either going to do this thing or we're not. Remember one time, well, Louis, how many did you sponsor to be Diamond? We're sitting around in a room one day, and there's a bunch of guys in the room. And I remember that there was, this conversation. Oh, well, how many did you get in to go Diamond, to find your 6, So I'm sitting in there. One guy was a contractor in Missouri. I'm not going to mention names because you'd recognize some of these names maybe. He says, well, I sponsored 18 people front line to find my 6. I thought, well, that's cool, man. That 1 out of 3, right? Diamond Direct, that's good. Well, he got through with his little speech. Next guy, this guy was an architect. If I said his name, you'd know that name because he did tapes and all kinds of stuff. His turn. He said, 12. You sponsored 12 and you found 6 that you could work with. That's 1 out of 2. Well, it was Louie's turn. You know what I mean? Well, Louie, how many did you sponsor to get in? Get your 6 in there. 38. 38. Yeah, 38. But I got news for you guys. I would have sponsored 138 to find my 6. Because you see, the man that's commitment. Nobody is watching your time, how long it takes you to get to Diamond. I remember one time being at Diamond Club, and they were recognizing new diamonds. I'll never forget this. So a guy across the stage went Diamond in 2 years. Everybody got up. We're trying to be courteous. So, we all get up and... All right, sit down. 2 years to Diamond. The guy was a ballistic missile. Apparently he had the talent, he had the people skills, he had everything in order. There might be somebody in here, you could pop this thing in a year and a half for all I know. The last guy that was recognized as a Diamond in that same convention took him 31 years to get there. And here's what happened next, guys. The entire Diamond crowd in that Hawaiian Diamond Club, we all got up, and we would not stop for almost half an hour applauding. You know why? Because his challenge was bigger. He used to flip hamburgers in New York, and he did whatever it would take. 31 years to Diamond. And you know what? He was honored for doing that because he faced all his fears and all the things that he had to face for 31 years. And he got up there, and they handed Dominic the microphone, and he says, well, he said, it took me a while, but I'm here. And we almost cried. It was wonderful to see this guy deal with all his demons, I guess, or fears or whatever. He had to work on his self-esteem, and he had to work on everything. They found him flipping hamburgers on the street corner in New York. He got sponsored in. Today he's a wealthy guy, but I won't give you his name. He was a friend then. He's a friend today. He's a great man. He never quit, never let go of the rope. Don't ever be a quitter. If you learn nothing else, never be a quitter in life. Another reason why I got this far is I have total blind faith. I knew I'd be Diamond my very first convention. No doubt about it. So what are we doing here? When you think about it, what are we doing here tonight? We are here for upgrade training. Upgrade training. If you're a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, a veterinarian, an architect, and yes, even air traffic controllers. I don't even know if you know what an air traffic controller is, but that's my profession. That's the profession I really went to school for. And the story is, long. But every 90 days, every third month, we had to go back for what they call upgrade training as an air traffic controller. I have a very good friend of mine, which he's one of my organizations, and a good friend of mine, he just went platinum, another personal platinum there. And he's a veterinarian. He owns the largest animal hospital in southern Louisiana. And tells me that maybe there's some vets in here. He says, every year I have to go to Vegas for upgrade training. I must pay the money to stay certified by the state. I've got to continue upgrade training. So why not us? Why would we not have upgrade training? If I can share this with you, in my ignorance, as I looked at this thing, here's the things that became immediately obvious to me. See if you can understand, and I'm sure you can relate to this. I told Kathy when we left that convention, I said, they have to have a training system. They must have a training system. There's no doubt about it. Why? I've asked myself in the past, I'm not that bright. I'm just a common guy. No big time college degree. Negotiated my way out of high school. Started making a living at the age of 14. Lost my mother when I was 4. My dad raised me. He was a waiter. No big deal. Just a guy off the streets of New York. Born in Queens. How come I figure stuff out? I look at other people and go, why can't you see the obvious? You ever wonder? I mean, you go, why can't you see the obvious? Why can't you understand the most obvious things about something like this? You got to have a training program. Why can't you understand the obvious? The obvious is probably costs money. Doing 2-3 meetings a day to get this over with. There's 2 ways to take off a Band-Aid. You ever cut yourself? You put a Band-Aid on? You can take the end of the Band-Aid and just lift up a little bit at a time. It's like one hair at a time. You like to hurt yourself or something? It's like the guy that does a meeting a month. Listen, you want to go diamond, you got to go. Just rip it off. In other words, get this over with. It's kind of like, there's a lot of meetings. Let's just get it on. Let's just get this out of the way right now. In other words, I want to be free right now. I don't want to be free in 20 years. I want to do it right now. All the tapes. Listen now. All the tapes. All the books. The motel rooms. Gasoline expenses. The 3 jalopy cars. Everything. The whole ball of wax. I'm talking about the entire ball of wax. 5.5 years. $55,000. I went diamond. I did over 1,000 meetings. Every dream has a price. I knew that when I got into this. Every dream has a price. Don't be afraid to fight for your freedom. Everybody's going to be cheering you along the way. Everybody. You're going to be positively influenced in these conventions. You're going to walk the stage. You're going to be recognized. Your upline, your whole line of sponsorship is going to be patting you on the back. People want you to win. They don't want you to lose. When you're out there night after night after night, I did this. I know what it takes. Everybody's just cheering you along the way. You're going to be the winner. You're going to make that race happen. You're the one that's going. You're the next guy. How long did it, for you business people, you guys that are so sharp, listen to this. I don't know the story of any other diamond. I don't know how much money they make. It's none of my business. I know I'm not the biggest diamond in Amway. And I'm probably not the smallest diamond. I'm probably somewhere in between, which is good enough. I don't need to be the big wheel. I just need to be a good spoke. I'll live a great life just being a good spoke in the wheel. Got to the diamond level. The first month comes in, the money. May of 1988, I'm an emerald. June of 1988, I'm a diamond direct. When all the cheese comes in, it adds up to 22,000. I don't know about any other diamond. I'm only talking about Louis' story. Of course, we broke diamond. It had ruby on the side. What did I do when I saw that $22,000 check? I bet you went out and bought a Cadillac, Louis. I bet you just blew it off on a Rolex. No, no, no. I put the check aside and I looked at it. First thing I did was I thanked God for the blessing. The first thing that occurred to me was to thank God to give me the dream that I could make that happen. That's number one. And then I said, I wonder what the next month will be. You business people, think with me for a second here. You guys are sharp, you're smart, you're business oriented. Remember, it cost me $55,000 to go diamond. It took me 4 months to get my money back. Think. No building, no overhead, no liability, no computer banks, no phone banks, no employees, no nothing. Just revenue flow. Revenue flow, revenue flow, revenue flow. For how long? At least 22 years of freedom now. That ain't bad, is it? The best time invested in my life ever has been to be committed to being a diamond direct in the Amway business. I am so thankful that I could trigger and take off. You can do this. This is not beyond you. I got nothing on you other than people have said, Louis, what did you bring into the game? Nothing but a dream and a drive, a dream and a drive, a dream and a drive, a dream and a drive. Nothing but a dream and a drive. I'm not that sharp. I just have a dream and I have a drive. Are you dreaming the right way? You think my dream is some silly little material possession like a Rolex or a big Cadillac or some silly whatever? See, folks, when I ask people, what's your dream in life? I expect to hear something of substance, because there's a price to be paid here. And unless you can find your dream of substance, it's hard to hang in there. It's not because you want a bigger house, or you want a bigger this, or you want a bigger that. It's too shallow of a dream when your whole dream is, I want a diamond ring. In other words, it doesn't click. Remember this. What I hear, I forget. It is proven you only retain 15% of what you hear. I have read this in books over and over again. As a matter of fact, you already forgot what I told you at the beginning of this talk, because we forget what we hear. What I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I see, I remember. Before I went to my first convention, I heard all kinds of stuff. Didn't you? This and that, back and forth, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is, you're going to go home after this weekend, and you're going to say, man, this thing is real. Especially you guys, if this is your first convention. You're going home a changed person after this week. You're going to go, oh, my God, jeez, what am I going to do with this thing? That's what you're going to think. What am I going to do with this thing? Because now you've seen it. What I see, I remember. What I do, I understand. Let's repeat that. What I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I do, I understand. Listen, if you're into this right now, you got to hang on to the rope, because the growth, your personal growth, is so subtle. It's like, I thought I understood something and I went, I don't really get it. How do you make this thing move? I mean, I used to talk to myself in the mirror all the time. I'd go home and go, how do I make this thing move? Raise your hand if you more or less agree with me there. Everybody's hand goes up like, how do you make this thing move? But every diamond in this place has done it. And therefore, whoever is speaking, I don't give a rip who it is, I'll be sitting right there taking notes because they did it. And therefore, they can teach you how to do it. It doesn't matter about personality, because every diamond, emerald has something to share with you. And you listen. Subtle growth. It took me a year to go 1,000 points of business. One whole year. It took me 2 years to hit the 4,000 bracket. I'm going to make you feel good now. 4,000 bracket. It took me 3 years to hit silver. See, you got to hang in there when you don't think you're getting anything. Because you are getting it. You take this thing, you take it one day at a time. You take it one day at a time. You plug in with your upline leader, and you'll be fine.